From the High Definition Production Center of Troy University's Broadcast and Digital Network and Troy campuses around the world, this is Troy TrojanVision Weekly.
Hello and welcome to Troy TrojanVision Weekly. We're glad you joined us for this look at what's happening in and around Troy University. I'm your host, Aaron Taylor. Well, a major road project for the city of Montgomery is now open for traffic. The first stage of the I-85 outer loop that will someday connect the interstate to I-65 in the capital city is finally ready for drivers. Rachel Wilkerson reports on the ribbon cutting from our Montgomery News Bureau.
Governor Robert Bentley spoke about future transportation funding Tuesday morning at 8:30 and also cut the ribbon in celebration of the new I-85 connector.
Transportation is so important to this country. This is a new project, and we're very proud of this, and this will help the people of southern Montgomery County. It'll help Pike Road and so many of the people as they try to travel from one place to the other. And hopefully this is just the beginning of a continuation. It'll be long years down the road before we finish this.
Exit 19 is a 4-mile connector that links Vaughn Road to Interstate 85 in the town of Pike Road.
We took a petition from the community, from the various churches used as a base, and sent, the federal government a picture that, here we have dirt that's been stacked up here for 20 years. And it's been a 30-year journey, but at least it's becoming closer to reality.
It's been a long time coming. A lot of people have seen the piles of dirt, and they've seen the pilings on the interstate, but we've been waiting quite a while to open this up to allow future growth for District 5 and Montgomery County.
Exit 15 allows over 900 homes to have quicker access to downtown Montgomery and alleviates traffic off city roads.
We've grown by over 3,000 citizens just in the last 4 years out here, and that growth has begun to create crowded streets, crowded roads. So we know that infrastructure investment is very important. We've invested in a plan to build our communication network out here. This is a major part of it.
The exit, also known as the Outer Loop, is the first of the 3 phases of the overall project to be completed. Rachel Wilkerson, Troy TrojanVision News.
Music educators from all across the state gathered in Montgomery last Friday for the 70th Annual Alabama Music Educators Association Conference. And a music educator from Troy was given an outstanding award. Christy Henderson has the story from our Montgomery News Bureau.
Sting, Sheryl Crow, and Andy Griffith were all music teachers before becoming famous performers. But on Friday, the best of Alabama's teachers gathered to receive their own awards for their accomplishments at the annual Alabama Music Educator Association. The AMEA conference is not only a time to celebrate success, but also a chance for the teachers to gain knowledge about better educating their students.
We get together once a year, and all the music teachers, it's a good time to reconnect, and we do a lot of learning. We learn new strategies and things to help teach the students.
This is the 70th Annual AMEA Conference held at the Renaissance Hotel in Montgomery, where many student educators received awards today, and one Troy University professor received the 2016 Lacey Powell Outstanding Music Educator Award.
This is a statewide award, and I was really, oftentimes it's given to people in the field that are K-12 teachers. The fact that it was a former student actually sent the nomination letter, and then it has to be voted on by the board of officers. So I am just thrilled that Troy University was recognized through me and in this way.
And the award Dr. Orlovsky received was named after a mentor she holds in high regards.
The award is named after Lacey Powell, and Lacey Powell was a strong music educator in the state that was actually the executive director of AMEA back when I first came here. And he was a great mentor, wonderful educator, and the fact that it's named after him makes it even more special.
In Montgomery, Christy Henderson, Troy TrojanVision News.
Troy University students who are looking to lead Troy University's freshman orientations had the chance to learn what it takes at the first of 2 Impact sessions this week. Latasha Sims has the details.
Impact has been around for quite a while here at Troy University. During the meeting, both Impact directors and past leaders shared information and experiences to help future Impact leaders.
For anybody who's interested in Impact 1, grab the application, go ahead and put that in. fill out your resume. Kind of like what I was telling everybody here in the intro session today. The resume is important because it shows me where you've been and what you've done, but it's not telling me who you are. So don't completely concentrate on that resume. Don't feel bad if you're not completely built out, 3-page long resume there.
Joining Impact is not only a great experience for the leaders, but it is also a great learning experience for future Troy University students.
What made me the most interested in it is that I'll be working with incoming freshmen all summer long, and I just really have a passion for freshmen and incoming and helping them make their stay here at Troy more comfortable, and it's a different big world here. I know it was a really big change for me, and if it weren't for the upperclassmen and the professors that kind of stepped in and guided me along, I probably wouldn't be here today, and so I definitely want to be that for someone else, because I know how important a role it is.
Joining Impact left a great impact on all students who attended and former students who wish they can get just one more chance.
I love the school. I didn't expect to love Troy as much as I did, so I came in my freshman year and adored it and really fell in love with it. And so as I moved on to the next year, I really wanted to see how I could give back to Troy, and Impact kind of fit that, so I could really help other people fall in love with Troy as much as I did.
For those students who missed the Impact Interest Meeting, you can still fill out an application, which is due by February 9th at 5 o'clock that afternoon, to Impact Director Jacob Grant, located in Bibb Graves. Latasha Sims, Troy TrojanVision News.
Last Friday wrapped up the Martin Luther King Jr. Week of Service. The Office of Service Learning and Civic Engagement arranged 8 projects throughout the week for students to participate in. On the last day, students helped out Troy Elementary School. Haley Greathouse has the details.
Loaded down with 5,000 pounds of gravel and gardening equipment, volunteers braved the cold and wet weather to help out at the Troy Elementary School for the last day of the MLK Week of Service.
So we found out that there's a nature trail that's kind of dilapidated at the school, and we thought it would be a good way for us to do some of our service work.
The Office of Civic Engagement partnered with Troy Kiwanis to help revive a nature trail.
The Kiwanis Club of Troy has been working on it for a little while and kind of has a long-range plan for the trail. And so what we're doing is just coming along aside them and providing some manpower assistance with spreading gravel, clearing limbs, things of that nature.
The Kiwanians were glad to have some younger people around.
College kids have got a lot of energy, and they work really hard. So on a practical level, it's great for them to help because they can make our projects go a lot faster.
The week wrapped up with this service project, but volunteers realized that service is something that can happen anywhere.
To me, service means just not thinking about yourself, always thinking about others, or doing the little things to help people out.
The Office of Student Learning and Civic Engagement has regularly scheduled service projects throughout the week. Haley Greathouse, Troy, TrojanVision News.
Troy University's faculty and staff help students every day throughout the natural course of their work. But once a year, they get the chance to help out financially through a fundraising campaign. Kyle Shook explains.
On Thursday morning, Troy University's Office of Development kicked off their 2016 Faculty Staff Annual Fund Campaign with a breakfast in Bibb Graves. The annual campaign gives the faculty and staff a chance to give back to the school they work for.
We do this event once a year. It's a faculty staff event, and it's a wonderful opportunity for faculty and staff to give back to the university. We're always asked, what is our internal rate of giving? And it's always a good time for faculty and staff to give back to the university they love.
Dennison says there are a variety of ways the donated funds can be distributed.
The good thing about this campaign is faculty and staff can designate. We have got so many funds set up. All they need to do is call the foundation office at 670-3608, and you can find out how many designations we actually have. And we've also got one, if you don't want to designate, called unrestricted. Like any college has a fund set up. Departments, it could go to the school of your choice for scholarships. There's really a lot to choose from.
One Troy professor says that giving back is a good way to show his support for the goals of the university.
I feel fortunate to have the opportunity to teach here at Troy University, and I believe that I have the opportunity to help a little bit with the mission of the university by giving back some to the campaign.
Kyle Shook, Troy, TrojanVision News.
We'll take a short break, but when we return, we'll see the original musical produced by Troy that is getting some regional attention. Stay tuned, we'll be right back.
The warrior spirit, It's in there. Always has been. Now let it out and take the world by fire. Train well and learn what it means to be a Troy Trojan. Walk with confidence, conquer, claim territory, and climb ladders. Know that you have the power to stand alone, but the comfort of knowing that you'll never have to. Discover your inner warrior. Find it at troy.edu/spirit.
You sure you don't want some? It's chamomile. Listen, you are extremely terrifying. Just the scariest undead subhuman thing on TV, and I really mean that. But I am worried that you could give my kids nightmares if they see you, so I'm gonna have to block you. So that's it. Oh, and tell the zombies they're blocked too.
Now back to Troy Trojan Vision News Weekly.
At 20, it's hard to imagine being 30 and in the real world, but one Troy University musical explores this idea. Troy Theater Department's recent production of the musical 29 was selected as one of 6 to perform at the Kennedy Center American College Theater Festival next week. Haley Greathouse has the details.
Nostalgic, relatable, and extravagant. 3 words actors used to describe the original musical 29 that debuted at Troy University back in October.
It is a story about a group of New Yorkers who are all on the verge of turning 30, which is a big step in life. When it all boils down to it, it's all about holding on and keeping going together.
It took 10 years for the finished musical to make its way on stage.
I wrote this musical with my collaborator Gabi Alter. We wrote it in grad school. Did a small production of it at NYU Steinhardt that was an attempt to develop the show and take it further. And the material before was very disconnected. This latest draft of the show that I've been developing here, there's a definite through line, there's a narrative, there's a story, and you're a little bit more invested, I think, in the characters and in what's going on in their lives.
So you're 29 in New York, and life hasn't turned out exactly the way you planned. Well, where do you go next? For these Troy students, you head to the Kennedy Center.
We have been asked to perform this, and it's a huge honor because we're doing it the very last night, Saturday, right before the award ceremony.
Back in 2013, The Single Girls Guide, another Tommy Newman musical, went to the Kennedy Center. Now, fast forward to today, where 29 is hitting the road with some of the same actors in the front seat.
2 years ago, my sophomore year, we took The Single Girls Guide, which is also a Tommy Newman original. We took that on the road to the same KCACTF, and we got honored with it.
I was also in Single Girls Guide when we took it to KCACTF, and I remember going there, and it was exciting. The whole week was awesome.
Before they hit the road, there's one more chance to see the show in Troy. A free performance will be held January 30th at 7 p.m. Haley Greathouse, Troy Trojan Vision News.
A playground classic made its way into Sartain Hall this week. Troy students showed whether or not they could dodge a ball. Deborah Bogart has the details.
Troy University students got to practice the 5 Ds of dodgeball Wednesday night. The teams were dodging, ducking, dipping, diving, and dodging some more in Sartain Hall as they participated in UAC and ISCO's joint function, Dodgeball Night.
Tonight we are hosting Dodgeball Night. It's an event. We've partnered with ISCO and different organizations basically to not only ISCO is a smaller organization, UAC is a bigger organization, so we kind of help get their name out there. So we introduce them to all the groups that are here, and they get a chance to look and see oh hey, this might be something else that I want to get involved in.
But the teams weren't just being scored on their dodging abilities. They had a little incentive to come play in their best costumes in hopes to win the best dressed team.
There is the best dressed team wins movie tickets to our local theater, to any movie they would like to see.
While the costume contest was a new twist to an old favorite, Calhoun said dodgeball always seems to be successful because it allows different campus organizations to come out and compete against each other.
I think it gives the students of Troy like a competitive type of game to participate for little to no cost.
If you've stepped outside recently, you can definitely tell there's a little chill in the air. But Calhoun said thankfully the cold weather did not keep students from coming out and enjoying a little bit of dodgeball.
There's a lot more people than I did think that it was going to affect it because I don't like getting out in the rain or the cold, but there's actually a lot more people than I did suspect.
The best dressed team and overall winner was Kappa Delta Sorority, and Q Dogs and Company won for the males division. Deborah Bogart, Troy, Trojan Vision News.
Football season has the big homecoming game where they crown, of course, the homecoming queen. Not to be left out, Troy basketball has an event of their own, Hoopcoming. And this week, a Hoopcoming king was crowned. Jordan Elston has the details.
The Trojan basketball team took the court yesterday to face off against South Alabama, but during halftime, a different set of Trojans took the court for Hoopcoming.
Hoopcoming is kind of like homecoming, but for basketball. It's we kind of get some guys involved, but it focuses a lot more on philanthropy and charitable giving. And all the guys who are nominated pick the charity to represent, and all the money raised goes to the winner's charity.
The Hoopcoming King was announced in the second half of the men's game, but contrary to the title, the Hoopcoming King has little to do with basketball.
All week during the week leading up to, we were raising money in Trojan Center. We gave away a bike in the first half, and then we announced the winner in the second half, and at halftime we had a donut eating contest with all the contestants.
And who was crowned Hoopcoming King? SGA President and Alpha Gamma Delta Representative Heath Barton.
It was definitely an exciting moment. I know there was definitely a lot of close races, but being able to win it was definitely a blessing. Once Alpha Gamma Delta sorority told me that they had nominated me for Hoopcoming King, I immediately began posting on my Facebook, my Twitter, my Instagram, just to try to get the support from fellow students as well as people from back home, being able to share the picture on Facebook, as well as being able to encourage people to go donate money at the bottom of the Trojan Center.
Over $2,600 were raised through Hoopcoming donations, and the money will all be donated to charity.
I'll be taking it to McClellan's Critters, to Mr. Mike out there at McClellan's, to help him with government regulations as well as being able to set up new fences and maintain the zoo that he has.
For more information regarding Hoopcoming, you can contact any Freshman Forum member. Jordan Elston, Troy, Trojan Vision News.
The television show The Walking Dead has brought zombies into the mainstream. It's one of the most popular shows on television, but it appears zombies just aren't popular on the tube, as the creatures are soon expected to start trawling the Troy University campus. Casey Garvin tells us how some students are planning for the invasion.
They're hungry for human brains. They look just like us. And this semester, they're coming to campus again. Zombies!
Yes, zombies. And while there aren't any on campus right now, rest assured they're going to be overrunning Troy very soon.
The Humans vs. Zombies Club held a meeting this Thursday to gauge interest in their new campaign, which will be held later this semester. Players will either be humans, armed with Nerf blasters and softballs to defend themselves, or zombies, who try to tag humans to make more zombies.
The new campaign is going to be later in the semester, late March, early April. This campaign, we're putting a lot more into it than we do for most campaigns. Typically, we would start planning for the campaign about a month or so in advance and get to work on mission, storyline, things like that. For this campaign, we've already started 3 months in advance planning. We're going to try and put as much storyline-wise and through ingenuity and new mission types, things like that. We're going to try and throw some new stuff into the campaign, stuff that we've never done before.
Human players will tote their weapons of choice across campus, while zombies stalk them between classes. There's no second chance either. Once a zombie tags you, you have to hang up your foam bat for good.
If anyone wants to get involved with the game, we have several social media outlets. We're on Facebook through a page, which is Troy University's Humans vs. Zombies. We're also on Snapchat, Instagram, Twitter. All those are under the same Troy_HVZ. Nice and easy to find. If you've never played HVZ before, this is the campaign to do it.
Casey Garvin, Troy, Trojan Vision News.
We're going to take another quick break, but when we come back, we'll hear some offerings from our friends at Troy Public Radio. So don't touch that dial.
I was in foster care. I never knew when I would have to move, so I always had my suitcase ready to go. Then one day, I was adopted. My new parents opened their hearts and home to me. My parents cook my favorite breakfast for me every morning. My parents take me on trips I never thought I would go on. They gave me a home and an even better reason to use that suitcase. My parents aren't perfect, but they're perfect for me.
This is Thomas. During the day, he works in research, and at night, he's a warrior. Soon he'll have a degree from Troy University, a historic and affordable public university with flexible online and in-class courses, and professors who know their students by name. Do what you love and be great at it. That's the warrior spirit. Learn more at troy.edu/workingwarrior.
Now back to Troy Trojan Vision News Weekly.
Each week we take some time to hear some of the work done by our broadcast partners at Troy Public Radio. As we do each week, we'll get another sample of Talk of Troy, the student-produced newscast of Troy Public Radio. Let's take a listen.
It's the Talk of Troy. Voices and sounds from the campuses of Troy University. I'm Shanna Timms. For the past 15 years, the City of Troy and Troy University have partnered to host a conference focusing on leadership during African American History Month. And producer Thomas Gleaton has the story.
Next week, community and student leaders will gather on Troy's campus for the conference, and Barbara Patterson, Director of Student Involvement and Leadership, believes it will be inspirational.
We want to bring to our community members an opportunity for them to hear outstanding speakers on current issues.
One of the speakers, Juanita Jones Abernathy, wife of civil rights pioneer Ralph Abernathy, will be returning to her home state, according to Lamar Higgins, a member of Troy's Board of Trustees.
We're bringing her home to help to rekindle the spirit of the movement of nonviolence.
More information can be found at troy.edu/leadership conference. For the Talk of Troy, I'm Thomas Gleaton.
Last week, 7 local high schools went head-to-head over their knowledge of the environment in a tournament held on Troy University's Dothan campus. Toni Berner is with the nonprofit group Legacy. She says the competition encourages students to know the issues happening in their own backyard.
Making that connection at home really brings it back to them and makes them a little bit more aware and excited about what their own environment has to offer.
3 of the competing high schools emerged as winners of the tournament and will go on to compete at the State Environ Bowl competition in Birmingham on March 10th. I'm Shanna Timms, and you've been listening to The Talk of Troy, a production of Troy Public Radio.
Throughout the week, Troy Public Radio can be heard on 89.9 in Troy and Montgomery, 88.7 in Dothan, and 91.7 in Phoenix City. Well, it's time for our last break, but when we return, we'll get a preview of this year's leadership conference celebrating African American history. Stay tuned, we'll be right back.
This is Thomas. During the day, he works in research, and at night, he's a warrior. Soon he'll have a degree from Troy University, a historic and affordable public university with flexible online and in-class courses, and professors who know their students by name. Do what you love and be great at it. That's the warrior spirit. Learn more at troy.edu/workingwarrior.
Now back to Troy Trojan Vision News Weekly.
In this week's Trojan Talk, we'll learn about the annual leadership conference celebrating African American history. Hello and welcome to Trojan Talk. I'm your host, Aaron Taylor. Today we'll be talking about this year's leadership conference, and with me is one of the organizers of the conference, Sadaris Williams. Well, Sadaris, thanks for joining me here today.
Thank you, Aaron, for having me today.
And we're talking about the annual leadership conference, which has become a big deal here on campus to celebrate African American History Month, but also to teach a little bit of leadership to both community members and students here on campus. Tell us about the conference and what all entails.
Yes, sir. This year our conference is on February 5th and 6th. That's a Friday and Saturday. We have an opening speaker on Friday night, It's beginning at 6:30. This year, our opening speaker is Ms. Juanita Abernathy. Then on Saturday morning, we have a few breakout sessions, 3 breakout sessions, a student breakout session, also an adult breakout sessions. And after the breakout session, we have a keynote speaker, and this year is Ms. Jasmine Guy.
Jasmine Guy. We'll talk a little bit more about the speakers in a little bit. We'll talk about the conference itself and what it brings in here, and the fact that the leadership conference, you talk about there's adults and students, but you've got people from all over coming here to learn lessons in leadership. Talk about why it's so important for the university to take a role in having something like this here on campus.
Well, yes, we do have a wide range of individuals who travel down for the leadership conference. We have people come from North Alabama, Mississippi, Florida, Georgia, all to Troy University. It's so important because, in fact, a lot of people get to see Troy for the first time. And they also get to experience a factor which is a key factor of Troy University's leadership. As we know, we had the leadership minor. So the conference first started 15 years ago to bring people to Troy, for the city and the university to work together. And also for the people to come to Troy, to come to campus outside of just a sporting event, for them to gather knowledge and gather information, because that's the most important thing in our life is gathering knowledge and information.
And I know a lot of companies and organizations bring their folks here to take part in this, to learn these lessons of leadership. But the other aspect, you mentioned it there, is the Troy University students. And this is an opportunity for them to get some lessons in leadership. And why is it so important, especially for someone who's involved with trying to figure out ways to get students involved on campus, to learn leadership and be a part of something like this?
Well, I mean, it gets you ready for the next step in life. As in the job world, learning how to apply the things you learn in the real world into the job field. Another thing, it helps you learn who you are and teach you who you are. One of the most important factors to me is like the students get to meet and hear a wide range of people. People you looked up to all your life, people who you've thought people that you looked up to all your life, people that you've heard on television and you've never seen before. That's another thing. In the past, we've brought in, last year we had Mr. Hill Harper, for our Friday speaker. I mean, he was phenomenal. This year, like we said, we have Miss Jasmine Guy, which a lot of people know her from the 90s sitcom, A Different World. So, I mean, somebody that I get to meet these individuals and hear them speak and hear their philosophy on leadership, also their philosophy on life. I mean, it changes you. It can change your world.
And of course, those two are the keynote speakers, but there's also a lot of individuals that come and speak to the students and the other members in each of the sessions throughout the day. So there's a chance to hear from a lot of different people with a lot of different, views on leadership and what to do.
It is. And our plenary speakers usually follow the theme of the conference. This year, one of our speakers we have is Mr. Stephen Scott. Stephen was a former Trojan University student. He's now works for Hibbett Sports and also an officer in the military. We have Ms. Dana Wilson. She's another speaker for the students. Dana Wilson she owns her own foundation. Runs her own foundation. She's a local individual. And we also have Miss Kimber Prada. She has a wonderful and beautiful story about how when she was in school and she was in college, she got into a life of drugs through her boyfriend and ended up serving time. And now she's out telling a story of like the mistakes that she made. So like we said earlier, like it applies back to real world, and so the students can learn about the different mistakes they should not make and how to become better people.
And of course, if anyone out there is interested in taking part in this, there's registration and a deadline for registration. Tell us about how they can get registered for this event.
You can register online at troy.edu/leadership conference. And then you can also come by the student involvement office. We can always help you out and help you register too. Registration fees is $15 per person. On January 30th, the registration fee does go up for $10.
Okay.
So it'd be $25 for students.
All right, and once again, when is the conference going to be?
The conference is February 5th and 6th. That's the first weekend of February.
All right, well, always an exciting weekend, and especially with the guest speakers that you've got coming this year. Sounds like it's going to be another exciting weekend for the university.
It's going to be a great.
Thanks for joining us, and good luck with this year's conference.
All right, thank you, Aaron.
Thank you, and thank you for joining us on today's edition of Trojan Talk. And that's what happened on the last week of January 2016. Find out what's happening throughout the week. You can tune into Troy Trojan Vision News at 5, 6:30, and 10:30 Monday through Friday. We hope you join us again next week for another edition of Troy Trojan Vision Weekly. Until then, have a good week.